Hi guys, we're back with whatever I named it. I really can't remember. Um, Bit of an update. I finished Leviathan by Paul Auster. I haven't really been reading too much this week. It's kind of the last week of work before we take Christmas break, and so it's just been super busy. I've been pretty wrecked. I think everyone kind of has as well. Um, Hence my crazy hair, which I'm getting a haircut tomorrow. Um, it's just been super busy, and I'm just tired. And so normally I read in the mornings. I read in a cafe in the mornings for an hour or so, and then sometimes a bit on the bus ride home, and then as well when I'm at home, sometimes I'll sit in my reading chair and read for a while. But I've just been kind of brain dead. I just haven't had the mental capacity. I just need someone else to just entertain me, like television or watching videos on the internet or something. So I really haven't been reading as much as I normally would have, but because we're leading up to Christmas and Christmas is coming very soon and I'll be taking 2 weeks off, very excited, and I've been reading a lot. And I've only got 2 books left on my reading challenge, which I'm really excited about. And so after Leviathan, I kind of struggled a little bit to find something I wanted to read, and it's kind of hard for me to get into books until I'm in them, and then I'm kind of hooked, and I don't want to read anything else. But it's that initial trying to find the book that I want to read is really difficult, and I jump between so many things. I started reading again for like the third time. I tried to start reading it. I still haven't read it. I get to like 100 pages in and I just drop it for something else. But it's really good and I really like it, but I don't know why I don't finish it. It's In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. Um, I got this copy. This is a second edition, In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. So it's not like overly expensive, but it's super cool. I really like the cover. Um, Super cool. It's got a picture of Capote on the back uh, with his very high pitched voice. I imagine reading it. Very nasally, high pitched voice. Yeah, I got this at a thrift store and I paid $15 for this. And I just love the cover so much. I think it's so cool. I'm gonna try and find some Mylar protective wrapping to wrap it because it's probably one of the only books I actually want to take care of and protect. I started reading this for a little bit again. I get so little into it and then I just drop it and read something else. So I stopped reading that, and then I thought, I really liked Leviathan. I should just read more Paul Auster. And so I've started reading. The title of the book is, I think it's The Invention of Solitude, and it's quite a short book. It's only 320 pages here on my Kobo, um, but I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of in that same vein as Leviathan, how it's a bit different but very real and human, and it's written from a very human perspective to the point where I get kind of confused that is this an autobiography or is this like has this writer lived this and is just writing his recollections or not. But I'm really enjoying it so far. It is about a man who is his father has just passed away, and he's going through all of his father's belongings and trying to piece together who his father was because he didn't really have a good idea because his dad was so isolated and was a mountain. And what's the phrase? Well, no man is an island. He was such an island that he's trying to figure out what his dad was and liked and all that kind of stuff. And he was such a private man that he's going through his belongings and kind of figuring that out. And so that's going to be the book I finish. I'll probably finish it this week coming, and then I only have 1 book left. And I still have not decided what that final book's going to be. Honestly, I kind of just want something a bit smaller so I can get this done and I can start reading these massive books that I really want to read. What else happened? I rearranged all my books so a bit nicer. There was a lot of weight on this middle one, and there still is. You can see the bounce. I need to get a new bookshelf because I don't want any of this to fall on my beautiful pedestal. Um, but I've rearranged it so there's a little bit less weight in the middle because I had everything in the middle. Um, put some of my knickknacks up here. You know, I've read a good chunk of these. I wouldn't say I've read every single one, but I've read all of this, all of that. You know, good chunk of those, good chunk of those. Pretty much all of this I've read, all of that I've read. And yeah, that's the new bookcase setup. I put a poster up, my last podcast on the left poster that I got. Yeah, just try to make it a bit more visually appealing. What else happened? I wrote some notes down on my computer here. I also swapped out, sorry. I've also, on my 2026 reading list that I want to do, I had Underworld by Don DeLillo, which I'm currently using as a camera stand. I decided to swap that book out for a different book by Don DeLillo, and it's Libra. I've always really wanted to read Libra, because of the themes of the book are more appealing to me than what Underworld is about. Libra is about the JFK assassination, which at one point in time I was very obsessed with. I'm not too crazy about it anymore. Like I know a lot about it, but I'm not actively in the community like I am with my Zodiac stuff. But it's very interesting to me, and I went to Dallas. I went to the book depository. I saw the spot. I've been on the grassy knoll. You know, I've stood where Abraham Zapruder shot the Zapruder film. I've been all there. I have a tapestry of JFK off camera here that I got in California. I very much like the 1950s, 60s American kind of culture and books about that. And so I think that might be a better fit for me than Underworld. And I don't know if it's a first edition, but I did get a hardcover copy of Libra by Don DeLillo. I paid $8 US, which was a steal, in my opinion. And with a little bit of shipping. So total cost was $26 US. That includes shipping to my country. And so I've decided to do that, which I'm very excited about. What else I had to say? I was going to do a video about like rare books that I have and signed copies of books that I have, but I don't really have that many. I have a few signed copy books, but nothing really cool like famous authors or anything. You know, I have a book by Rebecca Struthers called Hands of Time, which I've vaguely read. I'm not really a fan of the content in here because, you know, not to dox myself, I know watchmaking very well, haha. And I think some of what she's talked about in here is a bit kind of surface level watchmaking. You know, if you actually do watchmaking, a lot of the stuff in here is a bit, why are you talking about that? But I got a signed copy of this through the association I'm a part of Watchmaking Association. They were offering a signed copy of it for $50, and so I was like, why not? I'll have a copy of this book for $50. Another signed copy book I have, which I'm actually very proud of, is Sick Bag Song by Nick Cave. I'm a bit close to the camera, sorry. Sick Bag Song by Nick Cave. I'm a massive Nick Cave fan. He came to my state last year or the year before, and he played 2 shows, and I went to both of those shows. I'm going again in January. I have tickets to see him, but I went to a book signing event on November 20th between 12 and 2 p.m. And I got to meet Nick Cave and have a chat to him a bit, which was very cool. He wanted to show me his watch and asked me to fix it. And he personalized a signature to James from Nick Cave, which I'm super happy about. I was like very starstruck meeting Nick Cave. I love his music. I love his writing. Despite not actually having read Death of Bunny Monroe, which I do want to read one day. But yeah, that's a signed copy book that I have. I think I have another signed copy book, but I don't really remember. All I remember is this is the cool one for me that I have signed. Other than that, rare books that I have, I wouldn't necessarily call it rare, but I have a first edition copy of The Crossing, Cities of the Plain and the Road by Cormac McCarthy. This is a UK edition, first pressing, I'm pretty sure. I got this very cheap online. Let me double check. Yes, this is a first edition UK of The Road by Cormac McCarthy. Very cool. Oh, I have one more signed book, which is actually pretty cool. I have a signed copy of Watchmen by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. I have a signed copy of this. How I got this was when the movie came out for Watchmen, probably, close to 20 years ago now. Whoa, that made me feel very old. About 20 years ago, the movie came out for this, and I entered a competition. And I can't really remember what the competition was, but I think it was like write about, your favorite scene in Watchmen or something, and I wrote something, and I ended up winning. I won a signed copy of this book by Dave Gibbons, which was pretty cool, and I still have it. I don't know what it's worth. I don't know anything really value-wise, if it's rare or not, but I thought it was very cool. I won a competition to get a signed copy by Dave Gibbons, and I got a copy of Watchmen signed, which is pretty cool. If you haven't read Watchmen, it's a graphic novel, obviously, but it's very good. I don't want to give too much away. The movie, if you've ever seen the movie, but I think it was Zack Snyder did the movie's not very good. But the comic itself is incredible. And if you get the chance to read it, I would highly recommend it. Other than that, a fellow booktuber that has been pretty supportive of my channel and that I watch, I've recommended for him to read Actual Air by David Berman. Oh, sorry. One more thing before that. I picked up a copy of James Joyce Ulysses, which is cool. I got this for, I think it was $10 in Australian dollars, and never read it, but everyone says it's really good, so that's going to be on my to-read list. I'm going to put it right there, because that's going to be read one day in my life. I don't know when. But as I was saying, yes, Mike is trying to find a copy, or has found, I'm not sure at this point, of Actual Air by David Berman. This is a book I would love a first pressing of. This is my favorite collection of poetry ever. This is my favorite author. This is my favorite artist. This is my man. This is my hero. Sadly, he passed away in I think it was 2019. I'm getting confused what year, but pardon me. I would love a first edition of this book. And it's his first collection of poetry, and I've scribbled all through it. I love it. I've got notes all through it. And I thought I would read a poem from it, so you can get the idea of it. I would love to read Self-Portrait 28, but it's very long, and I don't want to, rag on. I'm actually quite tired. I've just come back from work. But I'll read this one. This one's called My Life at Home During Banking Hours, and it was a unpublished one, but it was a part of a collection that people put together after he passed away. It says, hold on. For a solid month, I tried to think of something new to say about rivers. I called the newspaper to find out how many horses were left on Earth, and numbly watched mosquitoes swarm over a pile of high-heeled shoes while my colleagues hunted in the corners. At least I was not in the line of work that had me spending most of my day avoiding God. My desk held painfully complicated surfaces filled with shadowed cassettes, black bear theory, and drinking water. There was a sadness in a name like Jesse Winchester, and the wind howling on the answering machine when I returned home from a daydreaming in a margarita shop. All the blessings and the counter blessings that moved through my mind like FM waves from a butter churn, and granted me the sight of parallel collies standing on a hilltop and the rain falling on the United States while it wonders, what is the United States? I used to sing a song that went, no more springs, no more summers, no more falls. I believed I was nearing the morning when nettles would pour from a shower head, when I would be ripped out of the world for recasting the blues in plastic. I believed that I would finally break where I had been bent, and that I would lose the game inside of the game. But what has not happened and now I do not expect it ever will. And that's it. It's a very, I don't know what to describe it. I love, that's one of my favorites, is My Life at Home During Banking Hours. Kind of just his thoughts of what's going on when he's at home watching the world go by, and the longing for more. If you've ever read anything by James Tate or Charles Wright, that's kind of the vibe of his poetry. Almost like if you've ever read Richard Brautigan, Trout Fishing in America. It's kind of that, I don't know how to describe it. Again, I'm not very good with descriptions, especially after work. It's kind of that, I wouldn't say experimental, but kind of abstract description of life and, things that have happened. There is one that I will read, which I really do like, from Actual Air. It's one of my favorites. It is, it's called Classic Water. Where is it? This one's kind of more about nostalgia and remembering times in your life and that feeling of nostalgia. And this one's called Classic Water. I remember Kitty saying we shared a deep longing for the consolation prize, laughing as we rinsed the stagecoach. I remember the night we camped out and I heard her whisper, "Think of me as a place," from her sleeping bag with the centaur print. I remember being in her father's basement workshop when we picked up an unknown man sobbing over the shortwave radio. And the night we got so high we convinced ourselves that the road was hologram projected by the headlight beams. I remember how she would always get everyone to vote on what we should do next, and the time she said, "All water is classic water," and shyly turned her face away. At volleyball games, her parents sat in the bleachers like ambassadors from Indiana all the way to the Midwestern schmaltz. She was destroyed when they were busted for operating a private judicial system within the US borders. Sometimes I'm awakened in the middle of the night by the clatter of room service cart, and I think back on Kitty. Those summer evenings by the government lake, talking about the paradox of multiple Santas, or how it felt to have your heart broken. I still get a hollow feeling on Labor Day when the summer ends. And I remember how I would always refer to her boyfriends as "what's his face" and "what's wrong with me," and I'd like to apologize to those guys right now, wherever they are. No one deserves to be called "what's his face." I really like that one. I'll leave that today. Just kind of a brief update. Again, it's Christmas time. I'm destroyed. I'm tired. I haven't really got much to say. But I wanted to put a video out because it's been like a week or two since I made my last one. And I've been getting more subscribers slowly. I think I'm on 11 now, which is crazy. 11 is a huge number. For just a little guy talking in his, office about books and poetry and whatnot. I'm really thankful for the viewers, the comments, and subscribers. It actually, even though like the number getting bigger doesn't, I don't want it to get bigger and I don't want it to, affect me, but it is really kind of nice and reassuring that actually people like it. So I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Mike. His comments always, really uplift me, and like I never know what to write back because it feels so not emotional, but more like it's very meaningful, and it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like, hey, these videos are, people like them, well, someone likes them, I'll make them just for you. It means a lot seeing these comments and seeing the views. I think I got 20 something views on the last one, which is crazy. That's a big number. And yeah, I'm always really thankful for the comments and the subscribers and the views. It really means a lot. I'm gonna put a few channels that I really enjoy in the bio, and I, at the risk of being annoying to some of these channels, like these guys, they're not massive channels. They're not like 50,000, massive booktubers. They're just small guys that started out and they have a good following, and I really enjoy watching them. The stuff they talk about, the books they talk about, and almost the casual lackadaisicalness of the channels I really like and appreciate. And yeah, that's all. If I don't make a video before Christmas, I want to say thank you and Merry Christmas to everybody, or Happy Holidays wherever you are. if you get time off work, just chill. Don't do nothing. That's what I'm doing with my 2 weeks off. I'm doing nothing at all. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna play my Counter-Strike game that I play sometimes. I'm gonna play my pedal steel guitar. I'm gonna watch the movies. I'm excited to do nothing and just reset for next year, because 2026 is gonna be a big year, not only for reading but for everything, I think. And I wish you all guys the best. And have a good night. Have a good evening. Have a good morning. Have a good midday. See ya.